Welcome, it's your boy Carcino here, and this is the truth behind the Public Enemy, Chuck D, and Flavor Flav beef. Oh my gosh. This has been going on for a very long time, people. A very long time. Brothers fight, you know, they go through periods of times where they separate, don't speak to each other, but they family, and no matter what people are going through at their time and stages, it's all a family thing. Until it's not. And when things get out of hand and it's just like, I just can't be even associated with you and when it comes to business or whatever you want to call it today. Now, Flavor Flav and Chuck D, when they first came up with a lot of these different things, like Flavor Flav is the one that really came up with the name Public Enemy. I mean, everything. A lot of it is attached to Flav. So without Flavor Flav, is they really a public enemy? Well, Chuck, he performs the rhymes, and Flav will be on the hooks and play some of the instruments. A lot of people didn't even know Flav could play a guitar, that he was a musician. We just saw him, looking like a guy who was on drugs bouncing around like the court jester, and Flavor Flav was the connection. Chuck D was mostly the two. He was too old for hip hop when Public Enemy came out. He was the serious, older, young cat that was in the game. You would have thought Chuck D was 45 when he started Public Enemy, the way he was talking. And for him to have a connection with the younger audience at that time was amazing because he's an older guy. He's a young guy talking old. Like sister. He ain't talking about shake it and back it up. None of that stuff. No love songs, nothing. He talking about get that crap out your hair. He take care of your kids. He was all about different type of topics that was involving blacks and the politics and people. I'm just like shocked at the time that people would gravitate to people like Chuck and his message and his music. But things started to go awry ever since they made the remake to Bring the Noise, and a lot of people went down with that. And it started there, and a lot of people started saying, "Hey, we need to expand and do other things." And Chuck became a little bit more. Once the money was coming in, and people are feeding their families, and they seeing the success, it's hard to go from that and going back to the hood, saying I'm gonna do it my way. But it's easy to do it when you ain't got nothing. So when you don't have anything, it's easy to say, "All right, well we ain't got nothing." So because we ain't got nothing, it's very easy to say whatever. Now when you done made it, nah, you ain't finna go back to hamburger helper. You know what I'm saying? You've been eating some good prime New York rib. And you're like, look, he'd be like, I respect you and all, but pass the A1 sauce. How much we talking again? Sorry about that. Now, over the years, as in life, after the four albums and all of these opportunities have passed Public Enemy up, Professor Griff left, and all of these opportunities that was there for Public Enemy went by the wayside, and Ice Cube was basically the one that was responsible, teaming up with Public Enemy, and basically took their route when he came out with Death Certificate and the Bomb Squad. They basically just gave Ice Cube a Public Enemy album. I mean, he just took the whole thing and ran with it. So, with that case being, dealt with in the fashion it was, you're looking at a situation now where Flav was out there bad, like heavy on the drugs, getting caught in all these crazy cases. But people miss Flavor Flav. Flav would always have that one song, and it would just be the hit. 911 is a joke. The song he had for the soundtrack House Party, Can't Do Nothing For You, Man. I just played that the other night. Cold Lamping. Flav was always the guy that was in tune with hip hop. Flav was the identity of hip hop, just being yourself to the fullest. But his vices was just too much, and it was weighing down. Like they were polar opposites, Chuck and Flav, but they had a common bond when it came to the music. And Chuck was able to deal with, Flav having all these vices, and Flav had a radio show. He was locked up doing a radio show. He was going through a lot. Then, they had all these opportunities to do like these other events, and Def Jam would have Chuck D go out and interview rappers. And Chuck D became more of a journalist more than an artist. And it was like, well, what are they doing with Chuck? Like, what is Chuck D doing? They're not even making music no more. So Spike Lee had them come back, and they got a bag for He Got Game. And when He Got Game came out, and they got together to do that last album, Chuck D, they put up money for it. It was supposed to be a comeback reunion, and Public Enemy was supposed to do more albums. Chuck wanted to change the whole group basically of what Public Enemy is about, making more alternative music. The music is not the same. So him and Flav clashed over that. Then it was all this business property with the logo, and everything was about business now. Public Enemy became a business. And the logo of Public Enemy, they had toys and action figures with the Flavor Flav clock, and G Wiz from Bomb Squad Promotions. You know, they were the ones that was putting out the hit records. I mean, they was producing managing the group and doing whatever. So when all of these things started to come full circle, that's when Flav, hey, I'm not getting no cut from this. And so, he ran into some lawyer who told him he needed to do this, he needed to do that, and, make some moves to be able to get his money back. But he ran into this lawyer after he was doing the Flavor Love, the VH1 deal. Now, they were going to do another show with Flavor Flav, but Flav screwed it up with all his vices. He opened a chicken joint down in Vegas. He got with some investors. As the Flavor of Love, like I said before, it's one of the biggest shows in the history of VH1. The episode that he was doing with Bridget Nielsen, the one where he ended up smacking her back, episode was one of the highest rated scenes in VH1's history. He owns, even today, Flav owns the records for the most views on VH1 for a reality show. With all this stuff they putting out now. Now, the new thing is, with all the problems that's going on, you're seeing that the group was able to sustain. No matter all what was happening, the group was always sustaining. So when Flav went to obscurity, he got in a fight at a doggone casino. Some guy jumping him at a casino, and all these different events are happening around Flavor Flav. And you're starting to say to yourself, well, is he bringing this stuff on himself, or what's happening? So they reunion, they did a concert. And that was probably one of the last concerts you were going to see with Public Enemy. But Chuck D is more into the politics and political game and charity, non-profits and charitable events. And he's more political now in the political race than he's ever been before. He's moving almost like a politician. Flav wants to be paid for everything that's moving. So 2 years ago, he sued Chuck D. Sued Chuck over some, what did he sue Chuck over? He sued him over something. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, some monies owed for a concert that they were doing, performers. They was putting out a CD, and he ended up dropping Chuck D's name out of the lawsuit. But he sued the former Public Enemy managers, Bomb Squad, and all of them because they put out a CD with his likeness and blah blah blah. But he said it's all cool with Chuck. I dropped Chuck's name out of the lawsuit because Chuck was suing too. So he was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." But Chuck never liked Flav's lawyer because he feel that lawyer is just some ambulance chaser, and he didn't manipulating Flavor Flav because he see where he can make some money. So this Bernie Sanders deal comes up with Public Enemy, and that brings us to where we are now. And Flavor Flav basically embarrasses the Bernie Sanders campaign with his Fight the Power movement. And he's got Public Enemy going to be there with him to perform Fight the Power, and then they're promoting that. There's pictures of Chuck and Flav. There's the picture of the clock. All of these things are going on with Flav. So Flav's the one that put out the lawsuit to stop it, sent out a lawsuit suing Chuck and suing Bernie Sanders' campaign, talking about cease and desist order, rather, for Public Enemy. For, wrongful use of his name and his image and likeness. He is not going to participate, and that just made Chuck lose it. Chuck has had enough. So once he saw all of this going on, when that cease and desist letter came, saying that they were engaging in unauthorized acts for his likeness and images, and saying that his clock is trademarked and y'all used it for promotional materials, man, Chuck was mad. And it's very rare you see Chuck get this mad. He didn't get this mad at Iggy Azalea. He came out and was like, look, he painted he painted Flav as if this dude's just some addict who can't kick the habit. He was like, I spoke to Bernie Sanders' rally with Public Enemy Radio. He said, if there was a bag, Flavor would have been there front and center. He will not do free benefit shows. Sued me in court the first time. I let him back in. The ambulance chasing lawyer sued me again on Friday, and now he's like now he's staying home and better find rehab. So yeah, this is something he don't like. He was like, Flavor chooses to dance for his money and not to be benevolent work like this. He has a year to get his act together and get himself straight or he's out. Flavor Flav didn't get the year. Public Enemy issued a following statement regarding cutting ties with Flav. He said on Pitchfork, I believe it was, he said Public Enemy and Public Enemy Radio will be moving forward without Flavor Flav. We thank him for his years of service and wish him well. The political group has been involved in a political rally for a long time, but Flav and Chuck were brothers. And I believe they still brothers, as he said that, he hope he can kick his habits and his vices and everything else, but Chuck's done. So my thing is, if Chuck getting the bag, see, he got to be getting the bag. Somebody's getting the bag. Ain't no free. And I know what Flavor Flav feel like, and I'm like, hey, no matter what he using it for, you know, he just want to get his money's worth. I mean, somebody getting paid. Why not be Flav? So all that he don't want to do it for free crap. Somebody getting the bag. Cause why would Chuck be so mad about it? The whole thing is simple. You knew Flav wasn't gonna be there. You should have not had put his, the Bernie campaign. Y'all should say, okay, well, don't put Flav in it. Flav ain't gonna be there. He's not finna do this or that. So make sure y'all cut him out of the promotion when y'all start advertising Public Enemy. Because everybody's thinking Flav gonna be there. So it is what it is, man. It's sad, but a lot of groups go through breakup, man, and money is normally the key that leads to the breakups and the splits, and it's all financial. And people might have vices and get through, can't get through certain situations, but I wish them the best, man. I hate to see. We're talking, like I say, they first shoot 3, 4 albums is probably in the top 10 of greatest rap albums of all time. So, with that being said, I'm out. Don't forget to support the page. Hit the Cash App up. You know, the Patreon is going down. We got the Suge Knight DLC situation going on over there for the VIPs only in the Patreon. And definitely, if you like the page, uh, you can click the donate button or in the description box, hit the Streamlab up, or you could hit my Cash App up. Carcino's the name. I'm out.